is me, Shadow, and this is going to be a little bit of a weird episode because I get bored at work very easily, and I wanted to do a theory video, and there was only one thing that was on my mind all day while thinking about random stuff to think about, and that was the recently viewed start of the series that I saw, Digital Circus, which, by the way, great pilot, go watch it if you haven't already. I very much love the animation, the characters. Jax is my favorite because that sass is something I live for. But there was one character in the show that we see in a state that they were not supposed to be in, though we do know what they're supposed to look like, and that is Kaufmo the Clown. Now the thing about Kaufmo is that when we see him the first time is in the intro to the show, where he is just a cardboard cutout that promptly falls over with these symbol words popping up on the screen that Kaufmo didn't show up to work that day. Later on, everyone in the show, mostly Pomni, Ragatha, and Jax, go to investigate Kaufmo out in his room, and when they open the door, they find that he has done what the show refers to as abstracting. Now, abstracting, as said by Ragatha, oh wow, that name is a tongue twister for me to say. But yes, as said by Ragatha,
You start to realize that you really can't leave, and constantly chasing an unattainable goal will start driving you a bit crazy. And eventually you get to asking what the point of anything is, and you completely lose sight of who you are and why you're even alive, and when you reach your breaking point, something really terrible can happen.
Now, what's important about what Ragatha said is that, yes, that is probably a way that somebody could abstract, but there's been multiple cases throughout the entire episode where other things apparently abstract as well, and that is anything that is hit by an abstraction, meaning that either abstraction is a carried disease type dealio where it can infect a new host, as we saw with Ragatha after she got literally ragdoll tossed into the wall, or with the gloinks, the monkeys, anything that the abstracted Kaufmo has hit with his big ol' meaty hands. Now, obviously, the characters themselves don't really seem to know much about what causes abstraction other than what they have seen happen to other people. And after we have Kaufmo get thrown into the giant cellar pit dimension thing that Kane has below the circus to house all the other abstractions, it's pretty clear that this is not the first or last time this is probably going to be happening in the series. But that made me start thinking of something else that was a different question. How many people have been abstracted? Because as they're walking down the hallway to go visit Kaufmo, there's a lot of doors that have X's on them. I mean, those are all likely people that have been abstracted at one point or another, including one character who looks like a black queen piece that may have been a partner or lover. I'm not going to probably throw that one out, but, to King, who is as listed by the characters, has been there the longest and has gone absolutely insane. But that shouldn't work out, right? King should be abstracted too, because he's absolutely positively insane. So, what kind of correlations could I bring into the situation to explain why Kaufmo and other characters have been abstracted, but not people like King or the little crybaby ribbon person? I swear I'll figure out their name at some point, I'm sorry.
Or well, where we all sleep at night. Even though we don't really need to sleep, it's
So one of my theory is that abstraction is not caused by somebody going insane, becoming sad, or one of those other type of things that Ragatha may or may not have mentioned. What I think it is that Kane is using the ruse of abstraction to actually hide what's happening to them, which is that those characters are just getting axed off because they weren't very popular. Now, obviously, that sounds pretty far-fetched, unless you have actually watched the episode, and you can tell that Kane is literally a fanatic, eccentric, crazy person who was holding all those people at hostage. One of my prime examples for why I believe Kane is willingly doing this is that, A, Kane himself says he's omnipotent, right? How did he not know that Kaufmo was already abstracted before they went to investigate them? And second, how did he not hear, Pomni calling for him while he was sitting at a restaurant with Bubble when his all-seeing many multiple billions of eyes should have been watching everything?
We stay right here, where I can keep my hundreds of all-seeing eyes on you.
What I think the likely cause of this is that Kane just does it. Like, he just abstracts people that probably aren't popular on his show anymore, or just are, getting too close to finding out what's actually going on behind the scenes of everything. Because he has an alarm for when somebody's adventuring out into the void, and that tells him when something's going wrong. But he doesn't have an alarm when people abstract, and he has a whole cellar of them just sitting in the basement, being abstracted amalgamations of monsters, and he can just, throw them down there whenever he wants to when they show up. He just chooses to not be aware of it? That seems kind of bad for business, in my opinion. What's also weird is that we've seen what happens when an abstraction hits somebody, and that's that they start abstracting themselves. So, obviously, they should, become abstractions also, which causes a whole zombie apocalypse type scenario.
Did Kaufmo abstracted? Why didn't anybody tell me? And into the cellar you go.
I am in so much pain!
Oop.
Kane has been shown to be able to fix people with, like Ragatha, who have been hit by an abstraction and it just poofs them back to normal. Who's to say that Kane can't just reverse that process and turn people into abstractions he doesn't want around anymore? I mean, they get sent to the shadow realm of the cellar after they become abstractions, so it's an easy way to remove characters from the show. And I know some of you are probably thinking, that just sounds far-fetched and overcomplicating this on an internet web show. Have you seen half of the ARGs that have come out in the last couple of years? MatPat has covered so many of these types of things, and y'all don't call him crazy. You call him crazy for FNAF theories. That's what you call him crazy for. You don't call him crazy for things like the Ranbu Generation Lost type things, or the Mandela catalogs. Because you all know something's going on in the background, and I know something's going on in the background with Kane. The easiest way to point and show that, Kaufmo was a non-exclusive event for this type of thing is if you go to their channel, you can go look at their shorts, and they have a Meet the Character panel thing for every single character that shows up in episode 1, except for 2. Those 2 characters are Kaufmo and Pomni, actually. Pomni doesn't have a Meet the Character. That's because Pomni wasn't a character until the episode started, meaning there was no reason to meet her, meaning that Kaufmo likely got axed with Pomni as his replacement. They have the same aesthetic because Pomni's just a jester, which is just, a more regal kind of clown, but Kaufmo just got completely removed. Obviously, Kane probably made the fake exit, which he obviously did because he acknowledges at the end of the episode and says he was making it to try to appease people who wanted an exit. He just didn't know what to put at the end of it, and it just leads out into the void. What if he made that exit door just to try to drive people like, Kaufmo insane, or to appear insane enough that they're all alone and isolated? As you can see, inside of Kaufmo's room, there's actually a depiction of Kane tormenting Kaufmo right next to all of the many multiple written lines of exit, 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 exit all over the walls. It's not impossible that before they entered that room, either the abstraction Kaufmo or Kaufmo himself drew that to show that, Kane did this to him. Kane is able to make abstractions as he wants to, because that's the easiest way to remove a character. Nobody questions it, because none of the other characters know how they're made. Nobody's seen it happen, it just happens. And I think that's probably where the show's gonna go, is that, they're probably just gonna be like, Kane is very obviously evil. I mean, he does kidnap and trap people in cyberspace, so it's kind of obvious when you think about it. But I think that's what happened to Kaufmo, so if you think I'm wrong, or is there anything you'd like to add to what I said, please feel free to comment it down below in the little box down below. Hit subscribe, it helps the channel. And if for some reason MatPat sees this video, I don't think he will, but if he does, please mention me. It gets lonely when I don't have viewers. See ya, and love ya. Bye.